been a while since I did the last interview show in English with some famous influencers, so I kind of miss it, and I think it's about time to do it again in a more different and interesting way. And this show is about the iconic status of opinion leaders, the convergence of a local and global influencers, insights, vision and mission to connect Thailand to the world. So welcome to my new show. Welcome to Time to Talk. I am now in the middle of BKK, the metropolis city of Thailand, and I've been waiting to see a man, a very interesting man, and people tend to call him a historical specialist, Dr. Wit Sittivaekin. In my
it's
show.
More than my honor to be here and to be featured in The Nation.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about the world economy and Thailand economy. You represents the man of economics, knowledge and stuff.
No, I simply report economic news every day, but actually I'm not economist.
I know.
But I gather some of the experience, and therefore I think that today I would try my best to share my experience.
Okay, since you mentioned the economist, they say that the world economy this year is going to be slow, at a slow state. And when we focus in Thailand, people have been debating about, are we in the situation, in the state of crisis or not crisis? So what do you think?
People repeat every year exactly the same sentence. This year is tough, next year will be tougher. All the time. This was the perceptions because we always think that crisis is always behind us. Something might come yet again. But from my side, people who report economic news, we always focus upon figures. If you look at the world economy, it performed much better than we would have thought. Right at the beginning of last year, in January, people talk about hard landing of the US economy, which represents 1/4 of the world economy. And people predict of recessions anyway, even though it's a mild recessions. But finally, US grew over 2%. How can we say this is crisis? Thailand, of course, we expected that to grow approximately 3%. And finally, it comes into less than 2%.
1.9.
1.9. It was not good enough in order to recover to be at the level of the pre-COVID. But it is not as bad as we can claim a crisis. If we said plus 1.9% is a crisis, European countries and Japan economy would have been in crisis for decades already. Which kind of crisis that we face? The word crisis, I would limit it to three incidents. Economic collapse in 1997, the flooding in Thailand, and afterwards it was COVID, because by that time our economic recessed by 6.1%. That's crisis.
At this point, at this stage, so shall we concern?
We should concern because the potential of Thai economy, we expect that the economy should grow approximately 3% every year in order to maintain Thailand at that competitive level.
And what preventive measures can we take?
This is pretty difficult. I listened to several people. A lot of people mentioned Thai economy last year. Thailand grew less than our potential. But some others, especially the president of TDRI, Thailand Development and Research Institute, Dr. Somkiat Tangkitwanit, he mentioned, we might have to think twice whether or not we did not perform up to our performance or Thai economy has limited potential. These two are different things. If we said one thing that we are so competent, we should reach that higher level, that's one thing. But if we consider ourselves in a different perspectives, that means we are not that competent and we need to look at ourselves. When we say ourselves, it doesn't mean only government performance, but rather corporate performance and also citizens and people's economic performance.
Okay.
We need to consider that and ask ourselves, how can we do better? I would say service sector is our strong point. I mean, from my side. A lot of people mentioned about the future that is now catching us. Digital transformation in which Thailand seems to perform behind our neighbors. But I'm sure that all of us are aware that Thailand is not a science-based and technological-based country. We are hospitality-based country. We are service-based country. Why don't we maximize that? You can't force Thailand to be leader in technology. Do you think that we can do that? I don't think so.
No, not really.
We are not the inventor of any technology. We are user. We spend a lot of money buying technology and using foreign platform all the time. And I don't think that we can improve that quickly in a couple of years. Why is that? Italy is number 8 largest economy in the world. Have you ever heard of any digital Italian company?
Never.
No. But one of their strong pillars is service sector. Yeah? Tourism. There's nothing to be ashamed that the country's strong pillar is tourism. I mean quality tourism. Luxury goods. Imagine in the top 100 companies listed in the Milan stock markets, all are premium brands and luxury goods manufacturer. The Italians always mention, we are not afraid of technology because the best technology is in our hands. Handicraft, good design that hits the world. And majority of them said, wait, look at our product and service. We can always sell them in the highest price all the time. That means they can add value through design, through attention to details, to handicraft. They can be the 8th largest economy simply because they stick with their strength. Even in the age of AI, do you think that you still eat pizza?
Yeah, sure.
Even in the age where we might be able to produce some kind of meal replacement, which can fulfill all of your nutritional requirements, but finally, do you need tasty food? Of course. Can AI replace tasty food? Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Sometimes people we use our brain, rationality, but some other times we use our heart. We need something emotional value to fulfill our emotions. And that is the reason why we need to focus upon that way, because Thai people are very emotional and we can deliver emotional value. Otherwise, we might not experience 40 millions of tourists flooding into Thailand. They don't come because we have technological advancement.
Okay.
They come because of something else.
Okay. So we have nothing to be scared of?
No. First of all, we need, from my point of view, we need to have a certain mindset. Why is our strength?
Okay.
Have we done the best in those areas? I'm too serious.
No. Come on, go on.
Sure,
keep going.
This is what I would think. And if we always remind ourselves, we are always in the crisis. We are about to die. One day we will be behind our peers. What do you have? You discourage yourself every day. Show the world. Thai people are not that bad. We have been so wonderful. We will continue doing good things in the future.
Okay, so what's your suggestions? What shall we do next?
I'm not in the position to say what Thai people should do. From my podcast, I try to bring different examples from some other countries for Thai people to learn from.
Okay.
The reason I'm so confident is when I look at many nations in the world, the way they climb up from a low-income country into a mid-income country into a high-income country, because they have confidence and they have courage. And Lee Kuan Yew, the Prime Minister and the founding father of Singapore, at the beginning he mentioned that was a moment of anguish. He didn't know what to do. But finally, 3 days afterwards, he held a press conference and he told to people, today Singapore is a mudflat. But in the next 10 years, we together will transform that into a metropolitan. If you look at reality at that time, that was only an absurd dream. But with that confidence, with the unity of people in the country, with the right direction, with the determination, not only for Lee Kuan Yew, but people in the entire country, they stick together. And look at today.
Okay.
Vietnam, when they fought against the French in Dien Bien Phu, they didn't have anything. They didn't have the air force. But finally, with that confidence and courage, they defeat the French. How did they do that? They were overconfident. And they did it. Second, the US backed South Vietnam. They have 5,000 helicopters in Vietnam. The Vietnamese who didn't have the air force, they shot 2,500 helicopters down to the ground. How did they do that? Courage. But if we keep telling ourselves, oh, we are inferior to other people, oh, we are not good enough, well, we are in a crisis, what kind of benefit do we have?
Yeah. So I get your point, which begins with change our mindset.
Yes.
Yeah. Stop
Win
spreading
mindset.
fears.
Yes.
Yeah, and try to encourage people.
Yeah. Look at the leaders in other countries. For example, Lee Kuan Yew. He never said Singapore is poor. We are about to die. We are in crisis. No. He has iron determination.
Geopolitical conflicts around the world. So would that be affecting us indirectly or in some way?
Geopolitics is actually not new phenomenon. It has been with us throughout the history. 19th and 20th century, when the French and the British start colonizing countries in Asia, there was geopolitical conflict as well. After the Second World War, we faced yet another geopolitical conflict, but we were not aware that was geopolitical conflict. So
The Cold War.
the Cold War. So
Yes.
I don't think this is new. And Thailand get away with that all the time. We have been proven that we are practically, naturally, we know how to handle with that. But the point is that totally unlike in the past when we rely on ruling class. But now, every single Thai people should be aware of that. And we have the role in there. The way I look at that is how to minimize the threat and how to maximize the benefit out of this situation. I look at India, for example. Some of the foreign correspondents asked Narendra Modi, what side do you take? Narendra Modi said, I always stand in the interest of our voters, Indian people, not superpowers. Finally, prime concern is, of course, the interest of Thai people. We still got a lot of foreign direct investment from several countries. I think that individually, Thai people need to be more internationalized. How can we protect our interests? For example, when we talk about the Chinese business people that come to invest a lot of things in Thailand, and some of them were afraid of that. For those who hold the property, you simply don't sell that to those whom you don't like. That's it. Restrict yourself, be an active actor in there, and act accordingly. This is what I would say.
Okay.
Anything that do not violate the principle of justice, humanitarian, and international practice. So this is important for me. Humanitarian, we can't take sides, of course. We need to stay firm. Justice, we need to stay firm. But economic-wise, security-wise, we can be neutral.
Okay.
And foreign languages, that has been weakness for Thai people for some times. Start thinking about that. I don't expect that Thai people will be fluent in English, in Chinese, and in Japanese, but at least we should be able to manage that in a practical level where we can talk and where we can discuss with them in order to ensure that at least they fall in love with us.
Okay. So for the basic, we need to be able to communicate to those countries if we want them to invest more in Thailand.
Appreciation of others' culture and languages are the key in order to ensure that Thai people will stand firmly, elegantly in the world where geopolitics has become one of the key factors.
As you are content providers and a consumer at the same time, so how do you make decisions? So which information do you decide to pick, consume, or believe? Any tips to all the audience?
Fact can be verified pretty easily, but for myself, in many cases, try not to be emotional. Try not to have your emotion attached to those news. When you watch political news, look at their behavior, the behavior of politicians, rather than having your emotions attached. Oh, I love this political party. Oh, I love this. The reason I tell about this is when I look at political behavior in United Kingdom, they are always swing between the two sides. There is no hardcore Labour, and there is no hardcore Conservative. During the Second World War, Everyone should worship Winston Churchill, the war hero. Everyone respect Churchill, but finally, in the end, when there was once again an election after the Second World War, they decide to go for Clement Attlee. They don't have that emotion attached to Churchill. Oh, Mr. Churchill, thank you very much, but now we want a new Britain. And after Attlee is in the office for 3.5 years, they switch back to Churchill because they said, thank you, Mr. Attlee, but you didn't fulfill our expectation, so you get out of the office. If you perform, I vote for you. If you fail to perform, get out. Voters are like shareholders, and they look at politicians like they are CEOs, hired for a certain period. If you don't perform, get out. I don't love you. I simply vote for you to work. You are employee. We are shareholders of the country. If you have your emotion attached to anything, finally you might not be able to get the fact verified. If you use heart more than you use hate, finally, it will be everything emotional. For me, I like Italian football. No matter how well they can do, no matter how bad they perform, I still like Italian football because we have emotions. But news, you can't do that. All of us have got our favorite. For example, I enjoy following football news. I enjoy following international news. I once hated economic news.
Okay.
So confusing, so complicating. They talk about interest rate all the time. So boring. But finally, I need to force myself, if I want to go out of comfort zone, to broaden my perspective. I try to force myself to learn something which is not in my radar of interest.
So besides other conflicts, what is the big issue that you think is about time to talk about right now?
For me, financial literacy of all the people. We are not at the level that it should be. I start thinking about having financial objective when I am close to 40, which is very late. I never have financial planning. I never fix my financial objective until I'm close to 40. Financial planning and financial objective that lead to savings and lead to investment should start when we are at the age of 15, 16, 20, not close to 40. I hope that younger generation would have that in mind. I hope this will not repeat to young generation and mid-generation. They should have this in mind first, because without money you can't do anything in life. This is not the time, simply the time to talk, but this should be the time to act. Financial literacy.
And here we are, the last scene, we have moved to the bar, which is, I consider it's quite fit as.
It's relaxation time. Relaxation time.
What kind of drink do you prefer and why?
I look at that and I am trapped with Campari.
Campari.
Campari is Italian aperitif that Italian people drink 30 minutes before the dinner in order to open up their digestive, to make sure that you can eat a lot and enjoy. Yeah? But I would rather drink it together with orange juice, which is called un bicchiere di Campari e succo d'arancia. This is what they say. It's basically a lifestyle that it's warm up your evening before you enjoy a big meal. Because the Italian, they have long meals, 3 hours, 4 hours. I asked, didn't you have anything to do? They said, well, dinner together is a time that we can be together with people in a family. And for business partner, it's a time to open up our mind. So they need to drag it pretty long. They have 5 courses, but before the first course, they would start with the aperitif, and they end up with digestive. That means to help you digesting what you have just eaten. Una Campari, per favore.
Cheers.
Saluti.
Okay, and this is it. This is the show. This is a time to talk. Until next time, please follow us. So you might see some other nice guy or some other talented people like Dr. Wit. Keep up.